Hey there, everybody. This is our morning edition of Big Brother 22 All-Stars live feed spoilers. We are at the start now of day 29. We're already laughing because this is a weird video that we're doing here.
I'm also just giggling because we just did our Dancing with the Stars video, and like that cast, I don't know, man.
I feel like I would have been just as interested in watching the Big Brother 22 All-Stars on Dancing with the Stars.
Yep.
At this point, can we see Kaysar do the salsa? Like,
That's right.
Come on, can Kaysar just walk right over from the Dancing with the... I think it's a different CBS slot that Dancing with the Stars is at. I know they're not on CBS. But anyway, speaking of lots and drama, we have more, maybe wall yeller controversy. The big thing is the feeds were down pretty much forever. By the time they went back, people were in bed. But we'll talk kind of about what was going on there. But then also quite possibly the most wholesome Ian and Kaysar conversation that you'll ever see. Before we get into anything, though, if you guys like this video, give us a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell for more, because we're definitely going to have more throughout the day. Support us further. Check those links to the store and our Patreon, where we have different benefits that are well worth checking out.
Okay, so we'll start with the wall yellers, because there's now been, it seems, 3. So we've had one that didn't do anything, one that did something, and one that it sounds like didn't really get to really say anything. It just didn't end up working out for whatever reason.
Yeah, the scuttlebutt is that somebody may have tried. There's a video circulating of someone yelling at CBS Television City, but that's the wrong CBS studio.
Yeah, and it's just, it seems like it's becoming more and more and more. And the fandom is really divided. And even a lot of YouTubers and podcasters, we're all kind of divided. Some people are like, yeah, bring me the drama. I know sometimes you're like, yeah, drama sort of thing, right? But then there's another group of us that, like me, that just want to see the show play out without outside interference. And the reason why is that is what the show is actually supposed to be about. You have a group of people that are locked away from the outside world. You have no phones, you have no internet, you have no contact with your family. That's the point of the show. So when outside interference is coming in, it's, to me, just taking away from the show. And even though I've been on all these videos and have said, you know, I'm not the biggest Cody fan or the whole everybody on that side of the house just taking out everybody else, I'm not a fan of watching that. But I want to see the other side of the house actually figure it out for themselves instead of having people from the outside just telling them what's going on, because to me, it's not as much fun.
I'm really conflicted about this, and I've said this in the past, because I loved what the Wall Yeller did earlier in the week. I'm not gonna lie. I love that we have now Ian waking up and talking to Kevin about maybe the core group of everything, and I don't know if this would have been possible without this Wall Yeller. And
that's right. And you said the word exactly. Wake up. He didn't actually wake up. He was told information, and that's where I get kind of like,
that's why it's so tricky for me, because I know that a lot of the arguments that are pro wall yelling right now are a lot of these people had pregame alliances, and that this is a way that sort of helps to offset some of that. And you know, I'll put a little stock in that for like one instance of it or whatever, but I'm not a fan of it happening repeatedly, because the feeds were down for like, I don't know, like 8 hours, and we don't know for sure what it is. But if they were down just because of wall yellers, like, I don't want to get to the point where we don't have live feeds to discuss, and we're taking the backyard away from these people because people are just kind of constantly shouting things. Like, that's where it gets really tricky. And I know that I'm being hypocritical and I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. It's just, I don't mind what happened earlier this week, but it's like, I like things to happen once, and it's not as much fun when it's a trend. I guess that's just where I'm coming from with it.
Yeah, and I understand the idea of what people are saying, that because of all the pre-gaming, that this equals it out. And if the wall yeller was yelling about the pre-gaming, then I'd be a little more open to the idea of it. But that's not what's really happening here. That's not what's being yelled. They're not sharing that there's been pre-gaming. They're sharing what's going on in the game currently. And that's where I'm kind of like, okay, I don't know. I know I'm dumping cold water on the wall yeller here, and I know that I'm on an island on my own with a lot of this.
I don't think you are.
I really enjoy that. If that moment with Ian where he wakes up was real and he really figured it out, how much more satisfying would that be for me? It would be so exciting for me. But just being told the information, well, all right, I guess you woke up.
I'm really curious how they're going to put this on the show. Like, if they're going to have it where it's like, a light bulb just pops up over Ian's head, or like... So,
they're going to have to.
Yeah, because they're not going to put the wall yeller on the show. Like, let's be realistic here. It's embarrassing for production, so that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and, I mean, technically it would be outside interference, which is not part of the game. So, people could watch it and be like, well, this is now cheating. There are people outside the game that have information that people in the game don't have. So now they've been, given this information. So I know they're not going to show on the show. So it will be interesting to see how it's edited together.
Yeah, I'm curious. They won't want to incentivize other people to do it or anything else. They'll hide that. But we should say, it's not 100% that they were down for so long because of the wall yeller. There was talk about, some people might have seen a rat in the house, and I know what all the comments are going to be in advance and respond to that. You guys are going to have jokes about there's always been a rat in the house and all that. We know, but it seems like there was an actual rat. Maybe not a player, and if that is actually the case, they may have
maybe not a player.
Well, I know what but we understand our audience at this point. Let me know if you were gonna make the rat joke in the comments, but I just think that it was probably, if there was a real rat, they may have had to bring in somebody to remove it or an exterminator, and maybe they had to contaminate the house again. It's because when they're down for so long and we're doing this while some people are waking up, maybe they'll illuminate all of us soon, but we don't have that information right now.
Yeah, it's hard to know exactly what it is. Was there actually a rat in there, or was it about the wall yellers? Because it is seemingly now that it's like every other day somebody's there and doing this now, and it is going to end up affecting the game, because that backyard, they're just going to take that away from them. Like, it's not going to be great for anybody in the house. Yeah. And it's not going to be great for us as live feeders, because more will be taken away from us too. So please stop doing this. I just want to watch the game.
The person I feel for the most is Ian, because I think he struggles in the house, and we've covered this before, and I think with him and with who he is and what he's talked about, I think that hammock is just like an important sort of balance for him mentally. And I could see it yesterday with him, that the idea of losing the backyard again for so long, they barely get it that long as it is, I think it's going to be debilitating to him, and I think it's going to end up affecting his game. So if you want Ian to be okay in the game at this point, I think that's another reason to let's all just sort of cool it off. Ian's kind of realized some stuff now already. We'll see what he does with it. I mean, what the wall yeller initially said may end up biting him in the butt in the first place, but we'll see.
If they don't give the backyard back and this just keeps happening and they do end up just taking away the backyard, I just hope that they find a way to either bring that hammock inside or bring in a smaller hammock inside for Ian, because he does need this, and it is something that helps him. And I would also really hate that the backyard is taken away for outside interference, and then it really affects Ian's game.
Yeah, and I worry a lot about that. And Ian, okay, the conversation that really actually got to me a lot emotionally yesterday, and this was right before we lost the feeds for 7 or 8 hours. Ian and Kaysar sat down. They had a meeting of the mind, so to speak. Ian kind of clued him in onto where he is mentally. And I think at one point Kaysar was like, is any of this information you have going to help me stay in the game? And Ian was just like, no, unfortunately for Kaysar.
But he was honest, and I mean, Ian is That's one of the strengths of Ian, is that no matter what he's saying, because he is pretty blunt about what he's saying, he doesn't usually, I mean, sometimes of course he will lie or scheme like everybody else in the house, but because he then balances it with these moments where he'll be straight up with you, it makes you think everything he's telling you is just real.
Yeah, like he just has that genuine quality, and that is why he is so dangerous in this game, because the more you're around him, the more that you just like, Ian, because you just like him so much, and then you feel bad that you're talking about maybe getting him out, and that's sort of what happened in 14 eventually, was at the time they were like, oh, we got to take out Ian. It was so late in the game that he was just able to win his way to the end.
Yeah, and this is sort of turning back into that again, because while Ian's a little bit on people's radar, there are other people that are now becoming bigger targets. And Ian, again, it's happening. So unless this conversation that happened with Ian and Kaysar, or Ian and Kevin, starts to spread around, Ian is still in a good spot.
I think maybe there was some I was about to say strategery, help me out. But no, I hope that there's some strategy in what Ian is saying, because we know that Ian did talk previously about wanting Kaysar to sort of blow up, that Nicole and Cody are sort of at the core of everything.
There's a lot of people in the house that are hoping that Kaysar's going to do this, because Bailey also had that talk with him. And
now that Kaysar's gotten more information about it, and Ian's pretty on the money with a lot of his takes on the house structure, maybe Kaysar will do some of this. I don't think he's going to throw Ian under the bus if he campaigns. I don't know if he campaigned last night, but I want Kaysar to do more than he has. It doesn't feel like he's done enough to make me happy yet.
I'd like to see Kaysar do more, but at the same time, I understand why he's not, because there's nothing he can do to change this. It's not going to change. Unfortunately, everybody is too scared to do anything except for Ian, and Ian has no power.
That is the sort of sad truth about it. I think it's just my own sort of desperation at this point, because I'm not fully at the acceptance phase that Kaysar's leaving yet.
And that's why I do understand the frustration from all the fans out there that are yelling over the wall, because this is a really frustrating season. Watching one big alliance steamroll everybody, it is difficult, especially with all-stars being attached to it. This isn't new people. This is all-stars. So you want to see a lot of gameplay and people stop being so scared all the time.
I'll give Christmas a little bit of credit that she is at least going around to people and sort of checking in with them, making sure she goes through the motions, because I think that's good. Even if you know for sure you're probably staying, you don't want to ever give off the appearance of arrogance, which ironically, there's a little bit of arrogance to volunteering to go on the block in the first place.
Oh, for sure. She knows that she's pretty safe, she's pretty comfortable in the game, but her going around and making that appearance that she's trying to campaign is a very smart move. She's made some pretty smart moves in this game.
She has, and we'll see what happens today. It is Kaysar's, probably, depending on some sort of twist. Fingers crossed on that.
There might be.
We still don't know. Nothing has been announced, but it's probably Kaysar's last full day in the game, and I hope that he tries his best to go have conversations. Maybe he can try to at least pull in people. I know he doesn't have any credit with David, but can he try to get somebody like David? He needs to basically get everybody that's not in the committee, aka the Blob Alliance, to get on his side. And then he somehow either needs Enzo to break the tiebreaker, or
which he won't.
If DANI throws another Hinky vote out there and ironically it ends up blowing up in her face.
Oh, how satisfying would that be?
I have been waiting for so long for the Hinky vote that actually gets the wrong person evicted, and let's have this be the week. Come on, I believe in you, DANI.
Yes, real hijinks going on.
Yeah,
blowing up on people.
Those hijinks are even more fun to me than the wall yeller, because that's something that's just intentionally done in the house, and it's just terrible. But we'll see what happens today. We'll be back later. Hopefully we'll have more game-related stuff to get into. But what do you think about the wall yeller gate, the feeds being down for so long, all of that stuff? Let us know in the comments. And if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell and support us further. Check those links to the store, our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.